minute face-off with Tyson Fury. Tell me about that. I've never seen a 6-minute face-off in my life, and you could have gone another 10 minutes.
Most definitely. You know, I just mean business.
Good morning, people. Welcome back to the Boxing Objective. Now, after I made my video last night on the press conference, Deontay Wilder did in fact do an interview with a YouTube channel by the name of ES News. Now, the video is about 10 minutes long or so. After watching this video, if you like, you can go and check out that exclusive interview that they got. And I'm going to talk about it because Deontay Wilder said a few things to me that are quite revealing. And I'm going to play a clip of that interview and then we're going to talk about what was said.
I know what went down in that, but just know I know what happened in that situation. But at the end of the day, we have no proof. So if you have no proof, there ain't no need to come out and like, hey, I know what happened. And
you were in there. You've had 43 pro fights. You have 30 amateur fights. You're a medalist in the Olympics. You sparred everybody on the planet. You know.
Yeah, most definitely.
So what Deontay Wilder is talking about is, of course, the accusations he made about Tyson Fury cheating him in the second fight. Now, look, as I said, I don't know if Tyson Fury cheated. I wasn't there. But what I will say is nobody has ever committed a crime and not left any evidence of that crime. Now, for Tyson Fury to have cheated in the manner which Deontay Wilder is suggesting, there would have had to have been a lot of moving parts. So Deontay Wilder's team, or members of Deontay Wilder's team, would have had to have been on board. The referee would have had to have been on board. The WBC, the Boxing Commission, pretty much anyone and everyone who's involved in the fight would have had to have been involved. Because how could anybody do something like that, not leave one shred of evidence, and not one person has said a word? Like, there's not a single witness. So that does not make sense to me. Now, leading up to that comment that Deontay Wilder made, he was talking about a previous situation that he had with Alexander Povetkin. He and Povetkin were set to fight, and Povetkin failed a drug test. Now, upon failing the drug test, the usual things ensued, and there was an investigation, so on and so forth. It was determined later on by a second judge that the sample that the performance-enhancing drugs was found in had been contaminated, and that Povetkin wasn't guilty of any wrongdoing. But Deontay Wilder didn't tell us that. What he said in the interview was that one judge made one decision, then another judge came along and made another decision. Now, that does not sound like somebody who is operating in reality. That's just my opinion. I think that maybe Deontay Wilder hasn't accepted the truth at all, not one bit, and still believes that he was cheated. Now, this is a very, very dangerous position for Deontay Wilder to be in going into a third fight, because he could be setting himself up for a very, very rude awakening. I mean, the man could get seriously hurt, and if you're surrounded by nothing but yes men, which Mark Breland did reveal in his only interview recently, where he revealed a lot about Deontay Wilder post him being fired by him. You know, being surrounded by yes men, they're not even going to be able to protect you from yourself. And I'm worried for Deontay Wilder's mental health. I'm now worried for his safety too, because I guarantee you Tyson Fury has got no qualms in going in there and putting a beating on this guy for a second time. He's going to go in there and he's going to do his job, and then it's going to be even worse for Wilder, because you couldn't deal with the reality of the first beatdown that you got, and this one is just going to add to that. So this third fight, to me, may have come too soon for Wilder, because he hasn't had enough time to heal mentally. And again, I'll say it again, I don't see this fight going much different than the second fight did. Now, in regards to loaded gloves, if it did in actual fact happen, it wouldn't be the first time that anything like that had ever happened in boxing. So it's not completely out of the realm of possibilities. I just think that there's not any evidence. Well, we heard it from the horse's mouth. They don't have any evidence to support that. Now, one situation that does spring to mind was Margarito versus Cotto. And in that fight, it was quite clear that something was not quite right. It seemed as if every time Margarito hit Cotto in that fight, he was hurting him. And Miguel Cotto, for the record, up until that fight, was a very, very, very serious operator. Now, when they had the rematch, Miguel Cotto presented a picture, and in that picture you could see that there was something not quite right. Picture was taken post-fight when they had him up on his shoulders and he was celebrating his victory, and you can see in the picture clearly right here that there was something not right. They believe it was plaster of Paris. Now Margarito did fight Shane Mosley, and there was a situation where a little block of concrete fell out of Margarito's glove, and once it was discovered, there was, you know, pandemonium, of course, and Shane Mosley then agreed to fight Margarito anyway. So they had the fight, and then after that, I think there was a whole investigation. Margarito's team denied any sort of wrongdoing. Margarito denied it, so on and so forth. Now, the funny thing about when Margarito fought Cotto was that allegedly there was nobody from Miguel Cotto's team watching Margarito get his hands wrapped, so he was able to cheat. Now, on this occasion, with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, Jay Diaz, who was the head trainer for Deontay Wilder at the time, was in the room. He's been seen in the room on camera watching Tyson Fury get his hands wrapped. So you figure that one out. So that's me, just a short video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. If you haven't already, like, comment and subscribe, and I will chat to you soon. Peace.